Good morning, First-Plymouth. It is so good to see your faces. So we're gathered here. We're gathered to praise God. We're gathered to be together. We're gathered expectant that God is among us, here with us, and that here we can encounter God in real ways. So that's been our prayer all week, that in the prayers or the word, that in the gathering together, in the music, that you'll experience divine life. And so today we begin with these words from James. You must understand this, my beloved brothers and sisters. Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger, for human anger does not produce God's righteousness. Let us worship.
For your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your voice, you have led me through the fire in darkest nights. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Oh, your goodness is running after me.
That goodness is experienced. We have an encounter with it in our lives. That goodness is relentless. It pursues us. It seeks us. Often, when we find ourselves in those low moments of our life, in the moments of hopelessness, despair, in the moments of dis-ease, in the moments of rejection, in the moments where we find ourselves in the margins, in the moments of solitude and loneliness, we find ourselves longing. We wonder about that goodness. We wonder about that love. Because that's what it is. It's that love. It's that God who is love, whose character is love. And then that encounter that we have, and really in our lives is encounters. We realize something. Oh, we've seen the goodness of God. We've experienced divine life. We've experienced that love, and something each and every time we have that encounter, something happens to us. As James tells us today, we are transformed by these encounters with divine life, with these encounters by this goodness. Something is no longer the same in us. And with each encounter, the hope is that we then grow more into Christ's likeness, into the likeness of that love, that we grow to be more loving, that we grow to be more kind, that we grow to be more compassionate, that we grow to be more meek. In other words, that because we've experienced our desperate need, and this love lovingly and longingly came towards us, found us and transformed us, then that's the hope, not just for us, but for the world, for all the world. And so that movement, that movement of that love in us that messes with us and moves us forward, activates something in us that we need and the world needs. And so today, this letter invites us and gives us actually a pretty practical guide to what this love made possible looks like. If we've experienced that goodness, then what does that mean for us? What's the fruit of that encounter in our lives? And in this season of life, for so many of us, it might be a helpful set of things to think about together. If we are these people, God's people, who've had this encounter with this God who is love in the world, then what does that look like in the day-to-day of life? And there's three things, as I read to you earlier, that James tells us. And I'll have to admit, it's kind of semi-hypocritical to be preaching about this, because the first one is really difficult for anyone who talks for a living, which is to be quick to listen. So if you've had this encounters, and part of Christ's likeness is that we then become a people who are quick to listen. Listening is so difficult to so many of us. Some of us are naturally inclined to be listeners more than talkers. Some of us are cursed with talking first, listening second. But all of us are being invited into pausing for a moment and making sure that we're paying attention. One of the things that I've been reading a lot about, we all have been curious about how divided we believe we are as a society, as an American society, how fragmented we are, how many differences we have, and sometimes we're overwhelmed by those differences, and we wonder, how can we bridge the gap? We're learning, though, that one of the things that's keeping us apart is that we're not really listening to one another. In other words, that we are encountering each other and categorizing each other and making assumptions about the other without those assumptions necessarily being even true. In fact, when someone comes at us, whether it's in the workplace or the marketplace or whether it's online, we already have made an assumption about what that person's going to say. And we begin to build our response to them, which means that as they're moving their mouth, telling us something, we're not actually listening at all. We already hear what we want to hear from that person based upon the assumptions we've made in our encounter together. So if we want to bridge the gap and we want others to experience something different, then we're going to have to help tune our ears to listen before responding in any way. And being quick at it every single time. Make that a priority in our life together, to listen first. And sometimes, folks, in the current cultural moment, sometimes listening is just enough. You don't have to editorialize anything. Just listen. Learn. Listen with curiosity. Ask questions. Clarify. Dig deeper in that encounter with the other. Something happens to us. I don't know about you, but just hearing those steps lowers my heart rate. My anxiety goes down a bit. Just listen. Ask questions of clarification. Don't overreact. Stay curious. See the human in that other person in front of you. Be quick to listen. Now, if that was the only thing that James was telling us, I would probably, be okay. But then, again, to someone who makes their living talking and to someone who loves to talk and to get ahead of things, the second invitation is harder. Is to be slow to speak. I don't know about you, but sometimes there's so much happening in the world that I want to be really quick to speak. And I want to not just be quick to speak, but I want to be louder than the person who just spoke to me, so that my voice is heard, because I believe that I have it right and the other people have it wrong, and I want to clarify that. And yet we know that just actually adds to the noise. There's so much talking going on out there right now. So many opinions. I mean, just this morning, there was a football game yesterday. I've heard. A little bird told me. There've already been 300,000 opinion pieces on one game. Apparently, it's a really gifted 19-year-old. But you see what we're doing, right? We're just talking about everything, about politics, about religion, about football, about all the things. And slow to speaking, it's an invitation to kind of take a step back. This week, I made a mistake. So, as you know, we are partnering with a child care agency called Las Abejitas. And they provide bilingual early childhood education in our city. And they are partnering with us to open a second site right here at the corner of 20th and D. And we're really delighted about this partnership. It's something that we're really thankful for. So last week, I guess, there was a story that came out in the Journal Star about this partnership. And, it's really exciting, and I'm always curious about these stories. And so I made a mistake, though, to not just read the story, but I decided to go to the comment section. Big mistake. Because, again, now, don't get me wrong, again, the comments, there were about 100 really awesome comments, positive comments, life-giving comments. But then there were 3 others. And those 3 were not helpful, nor true, nor good, nor life-giving. And I took a deep breath as I was, again, there were 100 good ones. But man, my mind could not shake off the 3 bad ones. And I got my keyboard fingers out, and I was ready. I was about to prove the internet something. I don't know what I was trying to prove, but thankfully, or maybe not, that I was in the middle of getting ready for the sermon today, and I remember, JC, remember, slow to speak. That includes typing, by the way, and texting. Slow to speak. And after a Jesus moment, I just chose to let the 100 good stuff speak for themselves. Let the witness of our partnership speak for itself, knowing that my addition to the noise was actually not going to be helpful. I could just see the headline now, pastor responds, It wouldn't have been very pastoral, let's just say that. Quick to listen, slow to speak. And if James would have left it there, I would have been cool with it, I guess, but then he adds another layer, another dimension. If we've had this encounter with God, and that encounter has transformed us and moved us into this place, into goodness, grace, mercy, understanding, forgiveness, if we continue to grow in that love as we're called to, then the last way in which we might be transformed is that we become slow to become angry. And you and I both know that we're constantly being fed things that make us angry. There's almost like an anger-producing machine in the world right now, and we get notifications on our phones, and we get forwarded emails, and some of us get phone calls, and we get Facebook messages and all the things, and it's like we are almost hyper-vigilant now to be angry at something. Instead, we're being called, if we've had this encounter, if we've seen Jesus and we've encountered Jesus, we've encountered love, then we're being invited to slow down our roll just a little bit. Take a step back. As someone reminded me last night at the 5:30 service, a reminder that anger is what's called a secondary emotion. In other words, there are these other things that feed it. Fear. A huge feeder for anger is fear. Hopelessness, disappointment, loss. All those things feed our anger. Lack of control. When we lose control, we tend to get angry. That's the effects of that loss of control. And so if we just give it one moment for other folk to experience that pause, then we might begin to be a community that together, really, all of us practicing it together, that models something different. It doesn't just help us continue to grow, but the witness of that helps others too. Because you see, here's kind of where the rubber meets the road, which is that we've had this encounter of this goodness, of this love. But part of our call together is that we then show others what that love looks like, right? That we are to be witnesses of that love. And so the only way that others can experience it is if we witness to it. So then if we together begin to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger, something interesting begins to happen, which is that people begin to experience that love. The witness alone helps others see it in practice. Imagine today, in this world we live in the midst of this political season that's upon us. Just imagine today, with all that might make us angry and frustrated and all that stuff, if they just saw us showing that love, modeling that love for them. Because many folks have no idea what that looks like. So we need to show it to them. So in the weeks ahead, you'll have a lot of opportunities to show something different. You'll have an opportunity. And so today, as you come forward to light a candle, I invite you into that. May your lighting of the candle today be your decision to allow Jesus to use you in this way. Quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry. This is God at work in you. Show it to the world that needs it. As you come forward, that is your prayer today. It's our prayer together for the life of the world. Come and pray.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rains do fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first to fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness when God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word.
So the ancients would say that communion was a medicine for the soul. That when you ate this bread and drank this cup, you had a spiritual balm that you could take into you so that you would have what you needed to live into the love of God in the world, so that you could connect with the image of God that you've been instilled with, that you're sealed by. So today you can come by the chapel. All are welcome and partake of this meal. Jesus meets you there, and you'll have all you need for the journey of life and faith. And so now, people of God, in these days ahead, just remember, do not repay anyone evil for evil. Surrender your anxious cares to God and find your joy in serving others. Go in the peace of Christ. Amen.
You are the way, the truth, and the life. You are our hope, our victory o'er the strife. You are our peace, our calm upon the sea. Bringing good news to the oppressed, you call us to set the captive free. Speak, Lord, for your servants are listening. Speak, Lord, how we need to hear from you. Give us courage to speak, Lord, till injustice is silence. Speak your words of love in all we say and do. You come to heal our broken hearts, to comfort as we mourn, just mercy to impart. You call us to preach the gospel, dream the dream, till justice rolls down like water, righteousness like a mighty stream. Speak, Lord, for your servants are listening. Speak, Lord, how we need to hear from you. Give us courage to speak, Lord, till injustice is silent. Speak your words of love in all we say and do. Give us sight to see the world through the eyes of a stranger. Help us hear the beauty of a language not our own. Set our hearts to beat with compassion for our neighbor. When we love each other, you are seen and known. Oh, speak, Lord, for your servants are listening. how we need to hear from you. Give us courage to speak, Lord, till injustice is silent. Speak your words of love in all we say and do. Oh, speak, Lord. Speak, Lord. Oh, speak. Oh, Lord, give us courage to speak, Lord, till injustice is silent. Be our strength to love in all we say and do. Speak, oh Lord, teach us to live and love like you. Speak, oh Lord, teach us to live and love like you.